You can't say that you weren't warned, New Jersey. You really can't. I hate to be, I told you so guy, but the proof's in the pudding. Go to Jay the Gentleman. You'll see. I said before he got elected, before the primaries, I was like, man, there's something weird, something very fishy about this guy. I don't think we want to give this person from Massachusetts a ton of power in New Jersey, particularly because, he doesn't know this state. He doesn't care about this state. Why would he? He's from Massachusetts. But no. And all the folks who knew better than me, they were like, no, we're going to go with this guy. This guy seems like he's on the right track, and right now he's catching a ton of heat for going to BLM protest while sitting here claiming, "Oh my goodness, you gotta stay away 6 feet away from," like the hypocrisy, right? Puppet. It's puppetry. He's a puppet, right? And puppets don't have no control over what they do, so thusly they can't see the hypocrisy in what they do. That's a really solid way of recognizing if you're dealing with someone who's an actual human being or an NPC or a puppet, because hey, if they because guess what? Here's the thing about puppetry. It'll always end up in hypocrisy. And that's where we're at right now. So he's about to answer that question, and golly, this guy, like, you reap what you sow. You really reap what you sow. We've had generations of an overabundant welfare state that's been facilitated. And I'm not just talking about SNAP and food programs. I'm talking about the entire bureaucratic process. We have so much redundancy and wasteful spending and just it's an exorbitant, ridiculous salaries for officials in this state that it eventually will collapse in on itself, particularly if they go about these borrowing schemes and everything outside of cutting spending, which none of them have any interest in doing. Like, really. So, in many ways, this state really feels like a lost cause, but it's home. It's home. And you guys said, yeah, sure, we'll give this guy the keys. We'll let him drive. And here we are. So let's listen to his complete horseshit explanation of what took place with with him going out, not the riots, because here in Jersey, and for the most part, outside of the little mix up in trend, it was peaceful. But when you got the government protesting the government, then guess what? You've already lost. You really have. Lego.
This is a moment in time, perhaps unlike any in our nation's history. There is an overwhelming amount of anger and passion. And by the way, it's all been incredibly peaceful. I mean, overwhelmingly so.
Okay, so here's the thing. And I say this on the channel all the time. If you want to know how much, just BS and deception is involved in anything, look at who backs it, right? And and when it comes to BLM, and their destabilization plan, he's all on board. He has no problem with it, because he's a puppet, straight up and down. Sorry, Charlie, but that's the kicks.
Particularly in New Jersey, and we should be very proud of that. I can't imagine what it would look like if we said to people, actually, you have to stay in.
What do you mean? You've been doing it for 3 months. Is that circular logic that's always eventually ends up hypocritical? It's the same reason kids need 2 parents, a mom and dad. So when you have single mothers the way that we do, that logical thinking, that thought process that folds in and of itself, then it becomes a way of life. That's why you have so many people out here just completely lost in the sauce and running around like a chicken with their head cut off, because there's no what's the word? There's no point, there's no goals outside of whatever may happen.
To ignore systemic racism. I'm sorry for just ignore it. Just stay inside. You can't go out and voice your
systemic racism, right? Like, even though this is the same guy that just nominated that woman to the Supreme Court, they actually did a whole piece on her for today. Guys, come on. They did a whole piece. She's the first black woman nominated to New Jersey. I think like the Supreme Court. I think is it any Supreme Court? I'm not 100% sure. But the thing is, you know what they never say? How does she interpret the Constitution? Because you know what we never asked Murphy? How does he interpret the Constitution? Okay? Like, that should be a question that's on top of everybody's list when it comes to elected officials and people that get these positions, particularly the paid positions, where, you know, like our rights as a collective are on the line. You know, we collectively pay into this system. So to sit here and have this this governor be so blind to his hypocrisy, and I don't even really think he's blind to it. He just has no other choice, because once again, this man is a puppet.
Your anger, your rightful anger. I can't imagine what that looks like as it relates to public safety.
Dude, looks like telling people just to stay at home, like you've done for the last 3 months. Like, this circular logic, it's infuriating. That's why I'm glad a lot of these bits only come in a minute, because without this, like, honestly, if I had to listen to this guy like any extended period of time, I would probably just drown out. It'd be nothing but word salad and empty platitudes.
And so I would add that dimension to my answer, which is, I think this is literally unique in our nation's history. I do think this is an inflection point. I do believe this does feel differently.
Feel, right? It's all feels, all emotional stuff, all the aesthetical stuff. You see that they did the I did the video Empty Symbolism. I'm not kidding. It's nothing but it's all astroturfed to set the stage for destabilization, particularly I think in November.
This time, please God, it does.
Wait, it just did we lose the audio? Okay, so yeah, he's just there doing his pandering. There we go. I just wanted a decent picture, a decent still to end this on. So yeah, he's there doing his pandering. Oh my goodness, Black Lives Matter. It's nothing but an empty virtue signal. You couldn't care less. Like, real talk. Like, this man couldn't, like, honestly, most people really couldn't at the day-to-day level. They just refuse to admit it. Like, yo, like, at the end of the day, you got things that you got to take care of, right? You got your family, you got everything else like that. So random individuals' situation, yeah, as tragic as it may be, you also have to look at it from, why is the media pushing it the way that it does, right? And we just went over that with the Maurice Gordon thing. After that video came out, it's like, okay, yeah, bet, like, you can't take that and run with it because it wasn't a racial thing. But you saw the article that they printed up in NJ.com. They were locked, cocked, and ready to go. Oh, how dare another black life. Guys, it's right in front of us. It's directly in front of us, man. It really is. And it's infuriating, because you think you think we're stupid, right? Like they think we're dumb. And unfortunately, no, I'm not going to take your bait. I'm not going to sit here and get all riled up because, like, you know, like this situation that I don't have a lot of context for. Because once you add context to anything, watch that anger, watch whatever emotions are around dissipate. Why? Because logic and reason have ruled the day. So, guys, like, we got a year left with this dude. Honestly, I would much prefer that they hold that nomination up. Like, I think the Republicans, whatever they can get in the upcoming elections, they should really do whatever they can to hold that nomination up, because like, don't force it through just because she's a black chick. Find out how she interprets the Constitution. Like, we really need to get back to that space where we recognize the rights of others. It's not about my rights. It's about your right to live life the way that you would so have it, with as little government intervention as possible. That's what I think. Like, if you need the government, okay, it's cool. You know, we got a social safety net, not a welfare state. There should be a difference. There should be a distinct line drawn where it's like, all right, cool, bet. Like, you know, because we do pay into these systems, but at the rate in which the fraud goes at, oh man, the reforms are desperately needed. So with that being said, we're going to bring this one to an end. All the internet stuff. If you like to toss it a like, dislike, go ahead, do that too. Nobody's scared of you. Sub if you enjoy my fantastic voice and you want to get videos like this every single day. Share because sharing is caring. And YouTube and Bitchute like aren't the biggest fans of your boy over here for very obvious reasons. Bang the bell for notifications and speak. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Like Murphy is trash bags, dude. Like we got a year, we can get him out. Jack Citarelli is the only person who's declared, but he has no urban plan, so I'm not really interested right now. We'll see. Well, I've actually tried to reach out to the red team in the state to see what their urban plan is. They have no urban plan either, so it is what it is. This is home, man. Like, as much as I want to leave, the fact that this establishment is just run amok and made things so much terrible for kids coming up in this space, coming up in the same space that I came up in, it's just like, dude, like, come on, man. Come on, we can do better. I genuinely believe it, but we have to have honest conversations. And that's the thing about everybody who's so ideologically driven, is that there always reaches a point where there's no more honest conversation to be had because my feelings. But either ways, let me know what you guys think in the comments, all right? And until the next one.